Welcome back, everyone. I'm DanieSteel. Let's get right into it. The tragic case of the untimely death of Lauren Smith Fields remains a mystery. Black women femicide is pervasive globally, and the U.S. is no exception. At least 4 Black women and girls' lives were taken per day in the U.S. in 2020 alone. The systemic lack of protection for Black women and girls can no longer be ignored. When the news of Lauren Smith Fields' untimely passing hit the media, thanks to the vigilant outcry of her family, very little was known about the circumstances. The focus quickly became about a young Black woman who lost her life after going on a date with a much older man off of a dating app. The clear narrative was one of victim blaming. To add insult to injury, Lauren's family states that her case was very much mishandled by Bridgeport PD.
I feel like because he's a white guy and she's a Black girl, it's just almost like they just throwing it under the rug.
To ensure Lauren's case would not be ignored, her family hired an attorney and paid for a separate autopsy. Lauren's family states that the Bridgeport PD failed to implement the proper CSI team to collect physical evidence. When Lauren's family entered her apartment, they found a plethora of evidence that Bridgeport PD never collected, such as the cups they were drinking out of and a used condom. In fact, Lauren's distraught family was only made aware of her untimely passing after being contacted by her landlord. The man who called police to report Lauren as deceased was her Bumble date, 37-year-old Matthew LaFountain. Lauren's family says police described LaFountain as a nice man who was not under investigation.
We want all the people of Bridgeport to be treated fairly and equally under the law. That didn't happen here, and everyone listening to this story needs to know that Lauren Smith Fields wasn't given the treatment that she should have been given.
The city of Bridgeport is a very tough, run-down, post-industrial city. It often ranks as one of the worst cities in Connecticut and the U.S. to live in. As someone with family in the area, I've visited Bridgeport many times and can personally attest to the harsh conditions. It's not a typical area for design engineers to visit. It's certainly not an ideal place to visit someone for a date after only knowing them for 3 days. Neighbors confirm that LaFountain lives in a much safer area in Connecticut. It's curious why he didn't invite Lauren to meet him there. Perhaps he didn't want his home to be a crime scene. Let's take a look at what LaFountain told police about the evening's events. All of this information alone should have made LaFountain a person of interest, yet he was not. Most 23-year-olds, after a night of drinking, live to tell their story. LaFountain's accounts of the night's events were inconsistent to the outcome and warranted further investigation. He claims Lauren fell ill and he carried her back to her bedroom as they both lay in the bed fully clothed and went to sleep. Who does that? Why didn't he just leave after she fell asleep? If he stayed in her home with her because she fell ill, why did he wait until her nose started bleeding before he called police? If Lauren was so ill that she couldn't call for help herself, he should have called for help for her immediately, not wait until the early morning hours when her nose started bleeding. And now the autopsy results are in. Fentanyl, promethazine, and hydroxyzine were found in combination with alcohol to have led to an accidental death. The question many are asking is, how do we know that Lauren didn't take these drugs on her own accord? A little research and a lot of common sense never hurt anybody. These are not party drugs. In combination with alcohol, the effect would only subdue you. These are prescription drugs, not party drugs. Highly uncommon and highly unlikely to be abused by the average 23-year-old Black woman. Based on how these drugs are prescribed, sought out, and/or abused, it would be a statistical anomaly for Lauren to have taken these drugs on her own accord. More and more young women are falling prey to spiked drinks. Why is this being ignored in this case? Why is LaFountain's word being taken as golden fact when after a night out with him, this healthy young woman was found deceased?
Someone introduced those drugs to her system, and it wasn't her. And we want answers right now.
We need to continue to apply pressure to this case until Lauren receives the justice she deserves. Thank you for watching. Rest in paradise, Lauren.